Hello, everyone. Welcome to Small Talk. Well, today's guest is a person who has his hand in many different things, throws his hat in whatever the terminology is. Let's see now. He's very involved with the Garlic Festival. He makes garlic products. We'll find out more about that. He ran for the Green Party in last election. He also works for the city of Quesnel. So obviously that's where he lives. Time to meet Randy Thompson. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Nancy.
So tell me about, first of all, we'll start with running for the Green Party. What made you decide to run in this last election?
Well, at the time, I was on the provincial council of the BC Green Party, so I had been involved in sort of the back room sort of things. And I had mentioned to Sonia first now that I had been interested in running, but I'm so busy in my own life, I didn't know if I would, excuse me, have the time to dedicate to campaigning. And she said that she really hoped I would reconsider because she really wanted me to run in my riding of Prince George, North Caribou. So I did. I threw my hat in the ring and decided to do whatever I could. I sort of ran a bit of an unorthodox campaign. A lot of people are knocking on doors and phoning everybody, and I knew I just didn't have the time. I was still I had to work during campaigning. I went to a bunch of rallies and to the university and CDC and schools and talked to a lot of people. But I use social media quite a bit. I said, like, I'm not going to be phoning your house at 10 o'clock at night and saying, hey, do you have support for the Green Party? Like, I hate it when people do that to me. Mm-hmm. So, like, either I'm going to vote the way I want, and you phoning me isn't going to necessarily make a change. And it does, and that's the way politics has been run for a long time. But I just sort of ran a little bit of a different campaign. I didn't go into the election with the idea that I was going to win. I've said it before, I live in Redneckville, Williams Lake, Quesnel, Prince George, all forestry towns or cities. And there was no way, like, the Green Party is looked at as the bad guy here, So I didn't expect to win, but it's surprising that I had quite a bit of support. So there are a lot of people that are seeing the need for change in the way we do forestry.
Right, yeah. And it makes sense, that really makes sense. I'm glad you got some support. And, I used to always vote for the Green Party. Just this last election, I didn't, just because I thought it was, well, was a different kind of election, in my opinion. But anyway, I'll get back to the Green Party. So let's talk about, now, first of all, garlic. You're very involved with garlic. So you grow garlic?
I've been growing it for over 30 years. So I started off with one bulb one year, and I grew it. The next year I had 9, then I had 65, and then 197, and then 1,500, and then 8,000. I took one bulb to 8,000 in 5 years. And I come from a cooking background, so I wanted to do something with the garlic, so I created a honey garlic sauce and then made it spicy, and we just sort of have been going ever since. We've been making our products for 24 years. So garlic is kind of my passion. I mean, I love my wife, but, garlic is my thing. But it's just something that I find really cool because I was involved with garlic when I was cooking. I was a chef around BC, different places. So I have a cooking background, and I always found garlic interesting, but I didn't know much about it. There's a lot of ignorance around garlic itself. I've heard more than one person say, I thought it was only one kind of garlic. I mean, there's up to 1,500 different varieties of garlic. And it's a fascinating thing in that it just keeps making copies of itself. You just plant a clove and it just makes another version of itself. So it just keeps going, but there's 10 families of garlic, and within each family there's different varieties. So it's a really complicated organism, and I just find it fascinating. I've had 65 different kinds of garlic at one time, but I was more a collector. I was just finding it interesting, and then I realized, like, you got to grow them separately, store them separately, harvest them separately, and it just was a make-work program. So I just focused on the culinary garlic of what I was using to make my products.
Oh, that's really cool. Speaking of garlic, it's interesting because my son was living in Indonesia for 1 year, and I went to Jakarta and with my sister, and we went into a restaurant. It was all about garlic. Like they had garlic cloves hanging up everywhere, and whatever you ordered had garlic on it in some form. So it's pretty interesting.
It is it is pretty amazing, and health wise, like there's some amazing health benefits to garlic itself. Scientifically wise, there's a whole pile of amino acids, and there's a lot of chemistry going on inside garlic. People just think it's garlic, but I mean, there's a huge amount of chemistry within garlic itself. It's pretty amazing.
I read one time, I don't know if that's true, and maybe you can elaborate on that or let me know if that's true, that if you smash it before you cook it, it's better.
Well, that's one of the chemistry aspects of it. There's an amino acid called alienase and one called allein, and they're in garlic. And when they're combined, they form allicin, which is the garlic breath. So you have alienase and allein. When you crush it, they combine, and they aren't very stable for a very long time by themselves. So that's why it's good to do it just kind of close to when you're going to be using it. But that's what the chemistry part is, where I learned from Dr. Larry Lawson in the University of Utah. And I was having trouble with my garlic processing. Things were turning green, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. And he was a garlic expert. And I won't give you the whole story, but he tested garlic pills, and he invented this machine, and he would put people on where they'd breathe into it for 2.5 hours, and he could test how much allicin was in each one of these things compared to regular garlic. But yes, that is true. Like if you crush garlic before you use it, those two things combine and create that garlic flavor. It's not like when you crush it, you're releasing it. When you crush it, you're actually creating it.
Okay, okay. What? Here's a just silly question, maybe. About vampires and garlic warding off vampires. Where did that come from? Do you know?
Um, I'm not exactly sure the original origin of that. I mean, it's something I used to dress up like Dracula. I've got a vampire outfit, so I should know that. But I'm not exactly sure the exact point at when that became. It's obviously from Europe. It was a European lore thing, so not quite sure. But that is definitely a connection.
Right. Now, I mentioned that you were working for the city of Cornell. Are you still doing that?
Yep, still working full time.
So what do you do?
I can't say.
Oh,
I have a job that I'm not allowed to talk about. I know that sounds weird, but if I explained it, you'd understand why. But I'm a secret agent, you know.
darn. That's fun. Okay, let's get back again, garlic, because it's so fascinating. So tell me, how many different products did you say you have, or did you?
So I created originally, I just loved honey garlic. So I started with honey and garlic as two ingredients, and I know I needed to acidify it. So I brought in lemon juice and then apple cider vinegar, but it needed something else. So I started playing with cayenne. When I added some spice to it, I thought, well, that's better. I like that. But if I make it spicy, some people don't like spicy. Other people, you can't make it hot enough. So I started increasing the spice level. So we have 5 different levels of spice. The sauce base itself is honey, garlic, lemon juice, apple cider vinegar, cayenne, and then I've got a couple with habanero, and one has ghost pepper. Ghosted is a new sauce I created last year. And nothing is sign a waiver. It's not blow your head off. Like there's enough one-drop sauces out there already. There's some really dangerous things in bottles out there, and I just try to keep it in the human realm so that people can enjoy the flavor. It's all about flavor. It's not about making things too hot. And then I wanted to make a seasoning, and I like chipotle, so I created smoked garlic chipotle salt using Himalayan salt. And I love smoked, and so I smoked the garlic myself. And then we had the cayenne and habanero, so I thought we might as well make a cayenne garlic salt and habanero garlic salt. We ended up calling them this, that, and the other thing. So we've got one without any cayenne or pepper at all, just garlic and Himalayan salt. So we have sweet and salty with garlic and spicy. That's kind of my spiel.
So do you wholesale or retail or both?
I used to. When I first started out, when we were down the coast, we had 5 acres in Langley, and that was where I started growing and producing. I had a commercial kitchen I set up on the farm. After we moved to Quesnel, I had to put up another, I had to build a kitchen here. But it was, I'm going to be the biggest garlic producer, I'm going to be the biggest sauce guy. But the retail is one thing when you have to wholesale, because my product's a very expensive thing to create, because honey is the base. It's not water, vinegar, oil. It's honey, garlic, and lemon juice. It's expensive just for me to make it. And when I wholesale it, I wasn't making very much. So the store was making more money than I was, and I'm just kind of going, well, this doesn't seem right. So we pulled out of all the stores and we started just doing the retailing ourselves, farmers markets, and going to different events. And I still I still sell to a couple of stores. There's a few up here because we're in the Caribou. So there's a place in Prince George and Williams Lake, and I have a place here. People want to sell it, but we do most of the retailing ourselves. When you create a product, you have to decide how are you going to market it. Like, what's your base? When you start shipping stuff around, and when a store in Alberta, like, who pays for the shipping? Complicated when you try to fit into the world of business. And that was one of the things that I wanted to touch on is that if you have a raw ingredient and you want to make it into a product, control the marketing, like, be involved. If you sell on a smaller scale, but you make more money with each sale, that's better. It's less work and there's more in your pocket. And the farmers have been just abused basically by the system. I remember when I was a little kid, was watching the news, and it was about farmers having trouble making ends meet and they were going to lose the farm and all that stuff. And I said to my dad, I go, farmers can't make a living. Where's our food going to come from? Like, as a 12-year-old, I knew that. And it's like, if you can control getting your product, even in a raw form, if you grow potatoes, sell directly to the consumer. Like, don't wholesale stuff, because then someone else is making your money. So, like, I'm happy with what's going on with Canada right now, because there's going to be a surge of Canadian manufacturing and buying Canadian, and there's opportunities for people that have never been there. It's so exciting for me in the sense of Canada is becoming what it always should have been. It's always been like the United States' little brother, like, and we let them, oh, it's okay, someone else will do it. And it's like, no, we have to do it. So if you're a farmer, just market your stuff directly to the consumer. Figure out a way to make a product that you can sell to the consumer. It's not hard. It just takes a little bit of research and attention. So that's kind of one of the messages I wanted to put out is, like, take a hold of your future. Be in control of your destiny by making decisions. Don't let business push you around. I pulled out of all the stores I was in because I was tired of what was going on. They were trying to tell me what I could sell it for, and they want to control the price. And I go, wait a minute, this is my product. It's not yours, So I was a little unorthodox in how I marketed my stuff.
Good for you. I think it's great, right?
Mm-hmm.
What do you name? What is the name of your garlic company?
Oddball Garlic Company. We used to be Oddball Organics, and we still grow organically, but we're really frustrated with the bureaucracy behind the organic system, because it ended up being taken over by the government as well. And organic farmers have to jump through all these hoops, keeping track of all this paperwork and everything that they do, where they source things. And then they have to pay a bunch of money to be certified. Like, for me to grow organically, I don't need anybody. Like, I don't need anyone to say, okay, we say that he's okay, you can buy from him. I can just tell the consumer what I do. I've moved to a more no-till, replicating nature. I incorporate woody material and hay into the soil, and nature just drops dead material on the ground and leaves it there. That's how nature makes soil. Forests make soil by dropping leaves and branches and all that stuff, leaving it on the ground, and it builds up into this rich, deep forest soil. That's what the forest lives off of. So you can farm that way too if you go out go a little bit different berry material. I still add organic fertilizers and stuff, but you need to create the humus that is the live action version of what's going on in your soil. Because you can plant in sand if you add fertilizer, but there's really no life going on in the soil. So I just shifted to more what would nature do. That's kind of been my guide for a lot of years now.
Right. Now I know it's hard with the shipping costs, or whatever, but do you do any, if like, could people order online? Do you do that type of thing?
Yeah, we don't have a functioning website right now. You can find us on Facebook, Oddball Garlic Company. You can always get a hold of us. Our email, oddballgarlic or oddballorganics@gmail.com. We still have that as an email address you can order. We used to ship a lot of stuff into the States, and I used to sell down at Granville Island. A lot of the tourists coming up were American. Granville Island Market is kind of like farmers market all year long, so you could park your butt there for 2 or 3 weeks and just sell product. And a lot of American tourists would come up and then reorder. So I was registered with the FDA, and I could send product down to the States. But because of what's going on in the U.S. and some changes with CFIA, I don't want to send anything into the States. I don't want to do business across the border. I've made the decision that I'm not shipping orders into the U.S. So I can ship orders around, especially in BC, but it's the sort of thing that, again, it's like making that decision that I don't want to do that. I don't want to be told or even get involved in any kind of tariff thing. Like, forget it. So it's something that a lot of people enjoy connecting with the person, like buying from them directly. That's why selling at events and going to places, we always let people know where we're going to be. We go around to different cities and go to different events so people can see us doing it that way. But you still can contact us, send us an email, oddballorganics@gmail.com.
Yeah, I just Googled you I just Googled oddball garlic to see what would come up, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's so easy to find. If people, just again, anybody was watching this is obviously using a cell phone or a computer or something, right? So it's easy enough to find online, which is really pretty cool. And I can see that it's what do you got here? A website, and you also, as you mentioned, on Facebook, and your location is on all here.
The website is the old website that for the when we were still Oddball Organics. So it doesn't seem to function very well, and we're going to be getting rid of that website. But like I said, you can get a hold of us on Facebook or just send us an email.
Right. Okay. And it just says from mild to wild. This is pretty cool. So you consider yourself an oddball?
Well, the garlic. Sorry, that's how we got the name, because we had a different name for our farm when we were in Langley, and we were struggling to try to find a new name for the company and for the farm itself. And I just said, my wife and I were on the way to the airport, and I just said, we're just a bunch of oddballs. And she said, Oddball Organics. And we went, perfect. I have a shirt that says I'm proud to be an oddball, and being an oddball just means you're a unique individual, and being proud of who you are and what you stand for, and you don't have to fit in. You don't have to be a clone. Like, just be yourself, and don't be embarrassed about you liking something that not everybody likes. It's like there's almost a self-esteem thing in there. Is be proud of being weird. Like, just be who you are.
I agree with you 100%. I took some acting class. I always felt I was a social retard. That's not the proper word anymore, but socially,
Right.
but an acting coach said to me, "You're odd, and that's okay. You're different, and that's okay." So he made me feel okay about being
Mm-hmm.
who I am, right? So
Yeah, I spent years working in the film industry in Vancouver, like doing acting and background, and my beard used to be down on my belly button, and I was always the bad guy and biker, prisoner in space, prisoner in the Old West, prisoner in a straitjacket. I was on every season of Stargate, so I mean, if I look familiar, you may have seen me on TV before, but it's a pretty tough business to do. To have it like a regular paycheck. The acting world and film itself it's exciting and fun. I was just having a conversation with a good friend of mine who's in Toronto. He spent years acting, and it's not easy. And when you're going to auditions and you're trying to get jobs, and your agent, you can't make up work for yourself. You have just whatever they need at the time. So it's hard to have a job where you go, hey, I'm going to an audition tomorrow. Like I need the day off. Not everybody wants to let you just take off to go to an audition.
Yeah, that's
So
for sure.
it's an exciting business, but it's a tough business.
And I find in BC, it's located basically in Vancouver. So unless you drive, which I don't anymore. So, I stopped years ago, but I can't even get there for auditions, and you drive all the way down there, find a place to park, go in for an audition. You're there for like 2-3 minutes and out you go, and you don't even get a part, right?
Yeah. Well, and traffic has become so difficult in the Lower Mainland. I mean, the lineups down the highway, they're doing that improvement, heading out towards Hope, but it's still, there's more and more people all the time, just more and more cars. It's becoming very difficult to move around easily in the Lower Mainland.
Oh, absolutely. Just here in Chilliwack, where my sister lives, she says trying to get out, if she wants to turn left, there's so much traffic. Sometimes she has to go right, go up to a light and turn, go
Yeah.
around sort of idea just to come to this direction. It's just insane.
Right. Yeah,
Anyway,
two wrongs don't make a right, but three lefts make a right if you just keep going left.
yeah.
Eventually it's a right.
Anyway, I think that's it. We've covered, I think, pretty much everything.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I really appreciate you being here and doing this, and for the audience to watching you, listening to Randy Thompson, the Oddball Garlic Company, and I will share that information for you if you're interested in getting garlic. How can you not like garlic? I mean, it just does something to when it's cooking. When you're adding it to something you're cooking, the air just smells so great. It makes my mouth water just thinking about it. So anyway, thank you, Randy.
Thank
And
you. People can also look me up on Facebook, Randy Thompson. You can add Quinnell to the search and you can find me there. I do a lot of writing. Google's kind of made me a content creator, so I write a lot of stuff about politics as well.
very good. Okay. And thank you, everybody. Take care and peace out.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I will air this today around 4 o'clock, and I'll send you the link once it airs. Okay.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thanks again. Have a
All
good
right. Have a great day.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.